name is Clive Staples Lewis, but you can call me Jack. My friends do, and you can do so too. Oh, no doubt you've heard of my now surprisingly famous book series, The Chronicles of Narnia. I'm working on my newest one, The Magician's Nephew. I've been told that you've been reading a book about me, Jack's Life, by Douglas Gresham. It's a biography about my life and growing up. Douglas should know I married his mother, after all. About my childhood. I was born in 1898 in Belfast, Ireland. In those days, Sherlock Holmes was still walking the streets of 22B Baker Street, and the Baskervilles children were still looking for buried treasure. I tried looking for buried treasure too when I was little, with my brother Warner, of course. But even though we were in Ireland, we found no luck. But our father, Albert Lewis, fell into the hole. He was not happy about that, and that was the end of my treasure hunting as a child. Growing up in Belfast, Ireland was a great time, though in those years children would get sick very easily outside, catching pneumonia. So our mother, Flora Lewis, had a strict rule about me and Warnie. We had to stay indoors almost all the time, because in Ireland the weather would be always rainy, and our mother would be afraid of us getting sick. So, when it was rainy indoors, we would explore our house. In the house would be lots and lots of books to read. Books upstairs, books downstairs, books in the library, too deep, thick in the bookcase. There was always a new book to find, just like a man walking into a field is always sure to find a new blade of grass each time. But, come to think of it, where my father got all these books, I have no idea. Come to think of it, until this very moment, I had never thought of the question. Anyway, well, when it was sunny outside, me and my brother, as boys are wont to do, would go and play in the garden, or we'd go ride our bicycles in the countryside of Ireland. I remember one day my brother Warner brought into the garden a tin biscuit tin, and inside it he opened it up, and there was what he called a toy garden, or a toy forest, if you will. That was the first beauty I ever did see. What the real garden had failed to do with me, the toy garden did. Immensely I felt what I would call desire, or joy. I call it joy. It was like being taken into another dimension. And just like that, I was back into the real garden, and the feeling and the desire was gone. But the longing to return back to that perfect garden remained with me. As long as I live, my idea of paradise will always be a little bit in that sense of the toy garden. Well, what else did we do as little boys? Well, as you see, I had a kind of trouble. I was born, most people can bend their fingers, but my thumb, you see, didn't have the joint, so I was no good in sports. And as boys are wont to do, to make and build things with their hands, I couldn't. I could only draw them. Warner liked to draw things like trains and airplanes and all the like. I tried to follow in his way, but I seemed to like to draw what we called dressed animals, sort of anthropomorphic beings of animals dressed like humans. Beatrix Potter's Peter Rabbit and the like, you get the idea. And I would create and draw these stories in our attic room. We called it Our Little Kingdom, a place for me and Warner to go in the rainy days where the grown-ups never could. And the attic would be our kingdom. We could explore the little crevices and secret rooms, and I found a little room I called, and a little box, and I would write my little stories upon the box of my animals, my talking animals, and I called the land Boxen, my animal land. One day, a little mouse, when I was writing and drawing a story, ran out across the attic floor. I caught the mouse and made it my friend. I named him Peter. Peter would soon become, at the age of 7 years old, the main character in what the boyhood of me was drawing, Sir Peter the Mouse Knight, fighting not giants, mind you, but giant cats, and saving the whole villages of Mousedom. When I was little and I had finished drawing my Animal Land stories about Sir Peter the Mouse, upstairs in our attic was my grandfather's wardrobe. My brother Warning and our cousin would crawl into the wardrobe and I would read to them stories of my Animal Land with Sir Peter the Mouse. You will have no doubt read our Narnia series, and you would have seen Reepicheep in my Prince Caspian. Most likely there's a little bit of my Sir Peter the Mouse still in Reepicheep the Mouse. Well, this was what life was like for me when I was the ages of 7 and 8. It was pure bliss, the happiest moment of my life. However, when I turned 8 years old, the sadness began to fade. First thing happened was that Warner, who was 3 years older than me, was sent off to boarding school. My best friend was taken from me. So, in those days of him being long off in England and me being stuck in Belfast, we would write back and forth our Animal Land stories, back and forth, and when he was home for holiday, it would be me sitting in the wardrobe, reading my next chapter, and this is how we kept in touch with each other. But then, another tragedy befell me in my early years. When I was 9 years old, my mother got cancer. Oh, it was a terrible thing, and the poor woman couldn't beat it. My mother died that year, along with my grandfather. It changed and impacted my whole entire life, but I moved on. Well, I understand that you have questions to ask me about my life and how I became the famous author C.S. Lewis. Well, I don't think my life is any more special than anyone else's, but if you do have a question, be sure to let me know, and I would be glad to answer it. Thank you, and have a good day.